Welcome to the Property Talk, brought to you by Mirembe Villas. If you're looking for anything to do with affordable housing, then Mirembe Sentema Estate is your go-to because it is having the perfect housing for you when it comes to affordable housing. You know, most of the time you call in and say, for muntu wa wansi temutufako, property sho temutuliko, property sho mutulaga mayumba g'ebbeeyi tegali na mu Uganda, tegali mu Kampala. Well, first and foremost, those houses are in Uganda. They're in Kampala. But Mirembe Estate Sentema is actually reaching out to you. Well, that's Mirembe Sentema. They're giving you affordable housing. And to know more about them, reach out on their social media pages, or you can go to their offices down at Garden City for more information. And on the Property Talk with me is a lovely lady. And I'd say construction has evolved. 9,000 years ago, we built with stone. That is when we came from the, stone and all. And then in Africa, we had the grass thatched houses. But that has all changed. We consider modern construction, which is the brick and mortar, the fancy villas, the fancy houses, where I'm at the Kampala Serena Hotel, brick and mortar. But I love that the Serena still kept the heritage of stone. If you actually walk through the Serena, you will notice there are areas that were just done with a bit of rough stonework. Dativa, it's a pleasure having you on set.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, most of you, it's your first time seeing her on the property show, but maybe out there, if you're in love of real estate, you've engaged with her, you've interacted with her, you've seen her on these platforms. But on the property show, she's a first-time guest. And Dativa is doing something that is going to change our real estate market. She's doing something that is going to put us on the market when it comes to Africa, for us to also compete on the global market. Dativa, I will give you the floor to introduce what it is you're doing. What is Makao doing?
Makao Kwetu is a design and build firm. I'm majorly investing time and energy and knowledge in sustainable housing. We have done our best to understand ecology and how to save Mother Nature. We have one earth and she gives. If we don't watch out, we're going to be responsible for what happens to us.
She's going to one day tear out and just break down.
She just changes her mind every once in a while.
She's just like a woman. That's why we are named after her.
She must be taken care of and conserved. And our concept of housing is majorly upcycling, recycling, and reuse. So we have a product that is probably the famous one on this market is the container housing.
That is the product I wanted her to bring in here. When she went all the way back, I was waiting. I'm like, Dativa, just get to the point. Get to that one particular point that I want the audience to know. All this is okay, but that one point, and that is the container housing.
Yes.
Many of you out there may not know what we mean by container housing. You may say container housing and you're wondering what is container housing. Those containers used to bring in cargo, don't know where it goes, you don't know what it's used for. That is what we're talking about. Dativa, yes.
So we recycle shipping containers to make habitable spaces. We make homes out of them. For the longest of time, container habitation is not a new thing, but we've used them for lockups for shops. We've used them for roadside vending.
When you go to the African market, Buganda Road, most of those are containers. Yes.
But actually, a shipping container has very long life. A normal shipping container, a box from production level, is designed to actually do 100 years on water.
Kidding.
But no actual shipping container even does half of that on water, due to handling, due to very many things. Plus also being a landlocked country, we receive our containers and we don't want to share cargo. Cargo wange ajja yekka sagala kutika n'abantu tosobola misolo ngenda sigala wano. So we load our containers with our cargo and they are seated in our backyards. Like in every trader's home, there's a container in the backyard. For some reason, we just keep saying, no, I'm looking for a project to do. I'm looking for a retirement project to do. I'm looking for something to do with the farmland.
You
have a home right there behind you.
You have gold, the landmine right there next to you.
Right behind you. So the concept of housing needs to be thought about. As where we're headed, we must reuse everything that we have. The cost of destroying a shipping container could produce 5 new containers. Structurally, from production level.
Destroying one container would produce 5 new containers.
So if we learn to actually recycle and reuse shipping containers to make things that are very functional, and when we say sustainable, we don't mean ugly. No, we don't mean
when we speak of containers, we think, how is the thing going to look? It's just this big box and it's all metal. How is it going to look?
No, we have actually taken time. We have perfected our craft. We know how to make them beautiful. We know how to make them home. We know how to stretch them. In case you're looking to add up space, we've done some hybrids of other materials, probably played around with stone.
When you speak of hybrids, what do you mean? Hybrids of other material? What have you added to these containers? Which fabric or which material are the containers made out of?
Containers are mainly made out of cotton steel. Cotton steel is very sustainable. It has long life. It can deal with any weather. If you go drive down Lozira right now, where water literally carried everything, there were containers that were seated there. They're still intact. So containers are able to survive under any elements. So they are weather friendly. They can resist anything to do with weather elements. So cotton steel gives them the ability to retract and contract, which helps them actually give more life to the box itself. So once a box is shoved and cleaned and painted over, it's a new box. Yes. So when we say hybrids, what we mean by hybrids is, most people keep saying the container is very small. I don't have much space to work with. I don't have much space to work with in a container. So what we have done, we have figured out how to make hybrids. That is probably 2 containers with different other materials, normal building materials, probably our normal clay bricks, our normal sand bricks, our stones, the different things that we're able to do to make the houses slightly bigger, to allow you to have a big house. We've done a 5-bedroom out of 2 containers.
Really?
On a farmhouse.
What's the square meters of a container?
So a 40-foot container could be about 23 square meters, and a 20-foot container could be about 13 square meters. But the idea of headroom is very important when you're building and shipping containers. And we prefer to build in high cubes because they give us more headroom. But also, if you have a standard container, you're wondering what to do with it, there's so much we could do with shipping containers, especially the fact that even with the scarcity that the supply chain logistics platforms will prevail and, say we are short on containers, as Africa, as Uganda, we have containers sitting in our backyards, which means if we don't recycle them, we're actually contributing to the shortage of containers in the world. Because you get one container, the next time you need a cargo from China, you again buy another container, you again bring it back into the market. So we need to sort of contribute to the reverse logistics into ecosystem that produces back and reuses and recycles, so that we're able to save the earth. If we keep on, the print of every home on nature is very high.
When you speak of the print on every home on nature is high, how are these container houses being able to actually be able to sit into the climate change that we're having? Nowadays the weather is not as was predictable as it used to be, where the month of April it's this kind of weather, the month of January it's this kind of weather. There's a lot of heat going on. How are these containers being able to actually sit within this?
Here she is trying to give away my points, which I actually sell. But we have an insulation format that we use depending on the area that we're going to build in. So it's also important to know where you're going to build. If you're going to build on the belts, if you're going to build in the cattle corridor, if you're going to build in the normal environments, if you're going to build by the lake, the few things that we need to consider to make sure the container is habitable for that space where it is going to be built in. So it's not just saying I have a good welder who can cut a container and put a window for me. No, there are very many other aspects that play in. The kind of paint that we have to use to make sure the container is preserved and it's retracting instead of getting in the heat. Then there are other different forms of insulation. We do have the mortar pack fill, we have foam, we have different kinds of insulation to make sure that the box is actually habitable and comfortable for use.
Because when you speak of box, I'm thinking 4 walls. I'm just going to be locked in there, and then claustrophobic and all this. How am I going to handle it?
No, a container could open up to be just any space. If you're looking to the tourism industry, for example, the things that we are adding and the wood that we are cutting down, I don't know, to build lodges.
I know.
If we just dropped a box in that area, not affected its ground, you can lift it away tomorrow, relocate it. The ease with which we are able to do these things. Plus also, if you come from a background like we almost come from, that we cannot yet inherit land because for some reason our parents are almost our age, we actually could sit in a conversation with them to date, meaning they're not going to give us their land anytime soon
because they're also still using
they're still using the same land. If I carried
and also
something,
look at the girl child in Africa, the girl child doesn't inherit. Yes.
You won't even get to. But in the moment while we build wealth and accumulate it, I think if I could ask to borrow my father's land and drop a box on it and, be able to use it, probably create a lodge. There's a particular client we have worked with, and she used to keep on saying, I'm looking for a retirement plan. I told her, your backyard is so beautiful to give you that retirement plan. And we just dropped a box, worked on it. She ran Airbnb, and recently she quit her job to sit down and do that. And she's asking, can I stack them up? Yes, you can stack them up.
So you can create basically an apartment block of containers.
Yeah, we still have a bit of issues around approvals for them, because
I was just about to ask you, because like we see the real estate industry, the housing, the brick and mortar is governed, KC approvals and all. I was just about to ask you, what is governing you? Where is my security and reassurance and comfort, knowing that if I put this box in my compound, created it to be an Airbnb setting for a home feeling and all, where's my assurance that tomorrow city council or anyone is not going to come and tell me, what is this? It's not too standard for shelter.
So the concept around housing, we have a long way to go as a generation. We have a
True.
big battle to fight. We have
And
a
we
lot
are
of
fighting that battle.
we have a lot of concepts to prove. We have a lot of recently I was taken to KCCA to defend my work, and I'm telling them, guys, and the gentleman tells me, I'm so sorry, I understand you, but the law doesn't provide for you. The law
Exactly.
is the law. We are so ahead of the law, and we just need to be patient with the process. We need to be able to understand them and see how to provide for them. So the thing we have begun to do is provide our structure drawings, provide architecture drawings, and submit them as temporary structures. But also to understand that you're not going to put it by the main road, because again, the other things that play into the factor,
Yes,
gravity, as the trucks roll by. There are other things that we have to be sensitive about as we build. But if you're going to go on a farm and drop a 40-foot container, surely you've created more space on that farm than you could have created in the middle of the city. So we're not trying to build on the city highways. We're not trying to build, no. We're looking for comfort and luxury that could be served in boxes somewhere in the wild, somewhere in somebody's backyard, in a space that could be used. But yes, the temporary structure concept still works.
This concept is interesting. It is new to our market, of course. If there's anyone out there that has been doing it, you have not been talking about it. You have not come out to actually address the public about it. But the first time we're having it on the Property Show, and it's something that would, like to talk more and more about. So for now, I will say, Tiva, let's continue this conversation. And I'm sure out there's so much questions. And when we continue it, we would have had a visit to one of your properties. And I know the continuation will even be better.